Welcome back to Grim Advice with Gretta Myers. You've entered the grimoire with 2 M's. We won't be turning any pages today because it's a 1-pager, and that's okay. That's valid. That's still valid. We're all valid. Well, and truly welcome back. It's been a while. About a month. Life happened, and then it kept happening, and then it kept happening, and it kept happening. And so today I finally have the time. Even though maybe I should be doing homework, but that's okay. That's okay. I'll get it done after this. It'll all be okay. We'll all be valid. And if you see me wearing this shirt in the next several videos, it might be because I bulk filmed today while I had a minute, so that life wouldn't get in the way of me giving you grim advice, and me grim advice. And we're all valid. Unless you're a terrible person, and that's okay. You just have to work on it. Alright. Without further ado, the story with all of the names that are hard to pronounce. Fair Katrinelje and Pif-Paf-Poltrie. Good day, Father Holland. Many thanks, Pif-Paf-Poltrie. May I be allowed to have your daughter? Oh yes, if Mother Milk Cow, Brother High and Mighty, Sister Case Trout, and Fair Katrinelje are willing, you can have her. Where is Mother Milk Cow then? She is in the cow house, milking the cow. Good day, Mother Milk Cow. Many thanks, Pif-Paf-Poltrie. May I be allowed to have your daughter? Oh yes, if Father Holland, Brother High and Mighty, Sister Case Trout, and Fair Katrinelje are all willing, you can have her. Where is Brother High and Mighty then? He is in the room chopping some wood. Good day, Brother High and Mighty. Many thanks, Pif-Paf-Poltrie. May I be allowed to have your sister? Oh yes, if Father Holland, Mother Milk Cow, Sister Case Trout, and Fair Katrinelje are willing, you can have her. Where is Sister Case Trout then? She's in the garden cutting cabbages. Good day, Sister Case Trout. Many thanks, Pif-Paf-Poltrie. May I be allowed to have your sister? Oh yes, if Father Holland, Mother Milk Cow, Brother High and Mighty, and Fair Katrinelje are willing, you may have her. Where is Fair Katrinelje then? She is in the room counting her farthings. Good day, Fair Katrinelje. Many thanks, Pif-Paf-Poltrie. Will you be my bride? Oh yes, if Father Holland, Mother Milk Cow, Brother High and Mighty, and Sister Case Trout are willing, I am ready. Fair Katrinelje, how much dowry do you have? 14 farthings in ready money, 3.5 groschen owing to me, half a pound of dried apples, a handful of fried bread, and a handful of spices. And many other things are mine, have I not, dowry fine? Pif-Paf-Poltrie, what is your trade? Are you a tailor? Something better. A shoemaker? Something better. A husbandman? Something better. A joiner? Something better. A smith? Something better. A miller? Something better. Perhaps a broom maker? Yes, that's what I am. Is it not a fine trade? First off, they only give a pronunciation guide for one of the names, and that's Mother Milk Cow, even though it's spelled like macho but with an L in the middle. I would have appreciated a pronunciation guide for the 2 main people much better than I would have preferred her. But it was nice, but like, really? So if you speak German or French or whatever these names are derived from, and I butchered that, I apologize. But there's not much I can do at this point. I don't think I can just look up, how do you pronounce this? And they'll be like, it's this. I mean, they might. Well, the only reason I knew it was Sister Case Trout was because the A dot, and because of a terrible pun about German. It was in Apocalypse, and yeah, I'll tell it to you. So when the Germans found out about the pandemic, they started stocking up on sausage and cheese. And that's when we knew it was a worst case scenario. Because worst with a W is sausage, and case, K-A, with the dots, S-E, is cheese. It's funny. says that. So that's how I knew how to pronounce the rest. That one, and high and mighty was easy. But the first two, what the heck? Okay. Let's see. First off, let's go right out the gate. The whole run-of-the-mill thing. Like, we do that sometimes. Like, okay, first off, if you really want someone to be married and you don't want to get this, because, like, yes, get permission from people, but also, really, it's between, like, especially back in the day, it was like, you needed permission from everybody to marry somebody. But like, nowadays, it's very much, yes, get permission. It's nice to have permission, but it really is between you and that person, so yeah. Anyways. But if you don't want this, okay, you gotta go get so-and-so's permission, so-and-so's permission, so-and-so's, get them all in the same room together. Get them all in the same room together. And, like, honestly, I'm super glad that Pif-Paf-Poltrie did not give up. Because if I had, like, imagine if she had 7 brothers. And they're like, you have to go get brother this and the brother this and the all of them permission. I would have been like, maybe not. Bye. I mean, like, I would have, but I would have probably been more frustrated than he was. This guy took it like a champ, or maybe he didn't. I'll get to that in a second. No, what was really interesting to me was, like, we do this to people on an emotional level sometimes. We set them through hoops. So many hoops, and we're like, you have to jump through this hoop, and 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 this, to get X. And yes, like, I get it. People have been hurt, and they need the evidence that they're not going to get hurt again. Understandable, fair. However, then they turn around and they're frustrated. It's like, why will no one do X for me? It's like, 'cause you made them jump through, like, a circus to attempt to get X, and they got tired. So yes, it's okay to not be as trusting and take a while. But on the other hand, you have to, like, it's better to take down some of those hoops sometimes. And B, if you're not at a place where you can yet, to be understanding, be like, look, I know I'm sorry, it's rough. Maybe not sorry, but it's like, I understand that this is not a pleasant experience for either of us. I understand. Then they're probably going to be more willing to keep trying than if you're like, you won't even try. And it's like, I am trying. Like, I've been on both ends of this. I have been the hoop thrower and the hoop jumper, and either end is really hard when, like, the communication is not there, and the understanding and respect is not there. So be respectful. Be open if you can, and if you can't, be understanding and communicate and be like, look, I know it's hard, and I want to work with you on it. How hard is that? Apparently very hard, because nobody does it. And not nobody, but, like, you know, okay. Second off, is it just me or Dan when she's like, have I not a dowry fine? And then he's like, no, something better. No, something better. No, something better. No, something better. I'm a broom maker. Isn't that a fine trade? That sounded sarcastic to me. Maybe I'm just protecting modern values, but if I'd been asked, I feel like most of you can relate to this. If I'd been asked to jump through that many hoops, And then she's like, and this is what I have. And then she's like, what are you? And I'm like, just get a little bit of joy out of it. It's like, what am I? This. No, this. No, this. You have to get this permission to find out what I am. Oh, this is what I am. Is it not fine? Katrinelje? Is it not fine? I don't know, maybe it was just me. First off, it's good to release some of that tension, and using humor sometimes can be good. I mean, sometimes it's a bad idea to use humor, especially if the person on the other end is not in a place where they want to receive humor at the moment. Like, they're like, my dog just died. And they're like, old Yeller. And you're like, excuse you. You gotta feel the situation before you make comments. But it can be good to use humor to deflate a situation. You just have to be careful, especially humor like this. If he was being a little snippy, a little spicy, which is what it sounds like to me. Maybe, again, all these stories is my opinion. I'm throwing my opinion at you and giving you advice based on my opinion of what my interpretation of the story is. If you get something else out of it, go for it. That is totally valid. You are valid. So if he was using humor and being a little spicy, salty, that's fine. That's good. That's great. However, the danger in this lies in taking kind of remarks like this too far, to the point where it ends up hurting instead of helping, where it's like you end up trying to hurt the person because you're frustrated with them, and you're like, I'll just use humor, but like, you're the worst. So I guess it's just be careful if you use humor and need to make a sarcastic comment, that it's all in jest, and it's all trying to make the situation lighter and not attempting to mock or shame the person. And always being ready to, if they're like, ow, and you're like, then be ready to apologize. But also, on the other end, understand that people use humor to cope with things, and so if they use humor and it does offend you, don't be like, you're the worst. You're so mean. Probably be like, hey, I get that you were trying to be funny, but that kind of wasn't. Like, just be understanding and respectful. Respect. That's really what it boils down to, if we're being very real. Yeah. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Grim Advice with Gretta Myers. And with that, I've forgotten my own outro. But thank you. You're all valid. I will remember my outro for next video. But very much thank you for coming back. It's always good to give advice and get advice, because I'm always talking to myself as much as I am to you. And you're valid. You are. Thank you for joining us for another happily ever after, or not so happily ever after. That's up for you to decide, and what you decide is valid, because you're valid. You are. Either way, this is the end for today's episode, so tune in later and we can learn more and turn new pages together. And I whipped out that outro right at the end.